Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Dominion and Camp Cretaceous video all in one. In today's video we'll be discussing both Jurassic World Dominion and Camp Cretaceous in order to understand the connections that the Netflix canonical show had to the movie of Dominion. So if you happen to be excited, be sure to press that like button and let me know in the comments if I happen to have missed any of these throughout this video. Don't forget to also subscribe if you wish to stay up to date with everything coming from the Jurassic franchise, and to also learn more from the recently completed saga. By the time you're probably watching this video, if I schedule it correctly, I will be away in Romania in Bucharest, so if anybody happens to see me about, come say hi. I will be visiting some family there, so it'll be very fun. But as for today, here are all of the connections between Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic World Dominion was a pretty solid movie that had next to no plot holes, but comfortably set up future installments to the franchise. But what it did almost perfectly was round off the entire saga as a whole, and also connected everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. The original trilogy, recent trilogy, short films, and even the Netflix series. But what I have recently seen on my comment sections were that people failed to spot the connections between Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Dominion. Well, let me just tell you they appear in subtle ways that might not affect the story of Dominion, but they for sure do make things come across better than what you originally saw. Now firstly, let's discuss that Season 5 ending of Camp Cretaceous. It's a brilliant ending and a fantastic way to end off the show. But I've seen far too many people spread around the false narrative that the ending of Camp Cretaceous Season 5 takes place during the events of Jurassic World Dominion in 2022. I will start by saying that is false. Dinosaurs have been on the mainland since 2018, and as we know, Darius lived in the suburbs of California, the same place where Lockwood's Manor was during Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Not to mention that Brooklyn quite literally mentioned that the events of Lockwood's Manor only just started to unfold.
Darius, have you heard of the Lockwood estate? It's a little ways north of you.
No? Why?
They're saying that dinosaurs have somehow... Look, I don't want to say any more until I have some real facts. It's probably just a prank. Just keep your eyes open.
Will do.
So, the ending of Camp Cretaceous does indeed take place the morning after the breakout at Lockwood's Manor. Probably around the same time as to where we see Owen, Claire and Maisie in the car at the end of Fallen Kingdom, or perhaps during the time where we see Blue entering the suburbs. But either way, this was all taking place in 2018 and not during Jurassic World Dominion. Now, our first almost connection, let's say, was during the Malta sequence where we come face to face with a Carnotaurus that has a oddly specific scar on one side of its face and what looks to be a slightly burnt skin pattern, resembling a very similar Carnotaurus that we all know. Now, as we do know, this Carnotaurus is most likely the same Carnotaurus that we saw during the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But what if I were to tell you that this Carnotaurus was originally supposed to be Toro from Camp Cretaceous? That's right, there were early discussions about whether or not this Carnotaurus could be Toro and have him show up in the movie. During my interview with Camp Cretaceous showrunner Scott Creamer, we discussed the potential and why it never came to fruition. You can check out more from this full interview on my channel, but for now, let's take a listen to what he had to say regarding this topic. I thought that was a really nice touch, but were there any other sort of connections that were supposed to be made that didn't make the final cut, or maybe some that I might have missed at all?
You know, there were those are the main things we tried to do. There was a world where it didn't end up lining up with the story we were telling, but Toro almost made it into Dominion.
Oh, really? Oh, that would be great.
Carnotaurus. There was the Carnotaurus with the broken horn. That for a second we were trying to make it work, but it ended up, you know how these things are.
As we know from Camp Cretaceous, Biosyn had big plans to deal with dinosaurs during the Jurassic World era, But after Lewis Dodson appeared in the show, he explained how biosyn were made to look like fools after Jurassic World crashed and burned. However, biosyn and Dodson did not take this to heart and went to reach out to Manticorp as they were interested in some of their technology, which we'll discuss in just a quick minute. But that shows that biosyn still wanted to pursue work with dinosaurs even after Jurassic World failed. In Jurassic World Dominion, we see that biosyn's currently working with dinosaurs and they became a success doing so. The whole world is now looking towards them to keep an eye on the dinosaur epidemic. This was all thanks to the consistent plan that Lewis Dodson and biosyn had that was shown in the latter portions of Camp Cretaceous within Season 5. A subtle, yet unique connection that not many people realised or spotted. Now, the next connection comes during the early portion of the movie. We are met with Ramsey Cole discussing to Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant in a helicopter how the ecosystem of the Biosyn Valley works, and he makes an interesting comment regarding the animals' safety. He mentions how, if anything severe happens, they can manually control the dinosaurs by sending shockwaves via an implant in their head.
If we have to, we can just herd the animals remotely using a neuro implant that sends electrical signals directly to the brain.
Like shocks?
No, like signals.
Now, if you're fans of Camp Cretaceous, you already know where this is going. But let's explain this for those who are not fans or haven't watched the series yet. So, in Camp Cretaceous Seasons 4 and 5, the whole show starts to take a wacky and weird turn as a technology company known as Manticorp enters the mix of this universe. Manticorp own an island in the northwest of Isla Nublar and have designed their whole company and operation to go completely under the radar to the world. This way, they were able to operate in the shadows and steal dinosaurs off of Isla Sorna and Isla Nublar. Some of which included dinosaurs such as the Dilophosaurus and the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. However, their technology was so advanced that they had an army of robot dogs called Brads to do their animal care work. Yeah, you can start to see why this is starting to go a little bit wacky. As well as, bear in mind, as well as a smaller army of Brad X's. These were humanoid looking robots. However, the most impressive side of their technology was in fact the massive biodome structure that extended over the entire island. This allowed for dinosaurs to live in different climates and habitats as well as forced weathers. But the most interesting side of their technology was the brain control chips. Manticorp believed that they could mass produce these clips that would be connected to the brain of the dinosaur as well as connected to a controller, allowing for a Pokemon-styled battle between dinosaurs, controlled by humans. In Camp Cretaceous Season 5, Biosyn and Dodson ordered a large sum of these chips to be used as they were interested in that exact technology for their future projects. Ultimately, the owner of Manticorp got arrested after fleeing the island and the chips were presumably never sent out to Biosyn. However, that did not stop Biosyn from either acquiring them or possibly replicating the exact same technology later on. So, when Ramsey Cole mentions that they use brain control shockwaves to the brains of the dinosaurs to control them, this was first seen in Camp Cretaceous. After this, we have rarely any connections to Camp Cretaceous, unfortunately. It would have been nice to hear some news about the 6 kids that survived Nublar for 6 months, or perhaps Bumpy the Ankylosaurus possibly showing up. Something slightly small, but big enough to continue to connect the expanded movie universe that this franchise became back in 2019 with the release of Battle at Big Rock. But up until the fire of Biosyn Valley, I don't believe there were any connections. However, feel free to let me know in the comments if I happen to have missed any below. So the next on-screen connection would be the usage of the dinosaur brain implants being used to protect the dinosaurs and control them remotely into a safety of the Biosyn interior. We can see it in action as the dinosaurs make their way towards the circular Biosyn building. I believe the Manticorp chips were used in Dominion as well, which was really neat.
As far as the protocol to get the dinosaurs to evacuate there. Yes, exactly.
Now, I feel like I'm missing another connection here, but at the same time, I believe I have all of the notable ones jotted down, so again, feel free to let me know in the comments. However, we move on to where the burning inferno of the Biosyn Valley continues to spread, but Dodson is packing up his things, ready to make a getaway from Biosyn. He picks up the original Barbasol can from the 1993 Jurassic Park movie, and that stumped many people who were watching the movie, my dad included, who asked how on earth has he managed to find a 30-year-old can that was drenched in the mud on a completely different island, to which I sat him down and bored him with the entire lore of Jurassic's Barbasol can. I'm only kidding. I just explained to him how Camp Cretaceous, during the year of 2016, showed the Barbasol can was discovered in Dilophosaurus territory on Isla Nublar, coincidentally by Lewis Dodson, when they were on a mission to try and track down Blue, the Velociraptor. So there we have another connection. The Barbasol can that was seen in Dominion is explained in Camp Cretaceous. And finally, one of the last connections of Camp Cretaceous comes as a form of, let's say, a little Easter egg. As we all know by now, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie already, somehow, but we're aware that Lewis Dodson ends up dying at the jaws of the Dilophosaurus. Now, rightfully, people are pointing the finger and saying that this is almost exactly the same way that Dennis Nedry died in Jurassic Park. I think it's pretty much scripted to be exactly the same. And with that, you'd be absolutely correct in saying this. However, in Camp Cretaceous Season 5, we also see Dodson come face to face with a Dilophosaurus, essentially foreshadowing exactly how he was set up to die in Jurassic World Dominion, making this more of an Easter egg than a connection, but it deserves a mention nonetheless. And there you go. Those were all of the connections between Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Dominion. I do feel like I am missing one here, so again, please let me know if you spotted any that weren't mentioned in this video, but overall, there were some neat subtle connections between this canonical spin-off show as well as the main Dominion movie. Not quite as much as you were probably hoping for, but still enough to feel connected and chuffed about. Don't forget there were also numerous connections to the original Jurassic World movie, and also a few connections to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, such as the opening sequence to that movie, we see it from an alternate perspective, and the ending of Camp Cretaceous Season 5 takes place in Fallen Kingdom. But in the meantime, be sure you're pressing that like button if you enjoyed, and don't forget to also subscribe to the channel if you want more Jurassic content in the year of 2023 and onwards, the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, and hopefully, if Universal play their cards right, we'll have a fun and interesting 2023 to look forward to. But most importantly, I hope you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Hello, hi, you, did you enjoy the video? Just a little reminder to press that like button and also subscribe. I just want to thank my Patreons for this month on screen right here, as giving me that little extra support really does go a long way. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.